Hello YouTubers, welcome back to another Tesla electric car video with me, Adam Wellinformed. The new Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive has been revealed, finally. I was right, a little bit wrong, and in my eyes at least, the 2023 Model Y and Model 3 could take a Thong approach. And if you think I've lost the plot, I definitely might just have. So bringing us back on topic, some of you may recall my video literally just a couple weeks ago, and how I revealed the latest Tesla news that they had signed 2 completely new battery supply deals and how that should translate into 2 new Model Y changes. I thought that would result in a variation here in Europe and another supply for a variation in the US. Well, fast forward today, we have a brand new Model Y for sale here in Europe, and that didn't take very long, did it? But something doesn't quite add up with its offering, so I think it holds a mysterious secret. Plus, you're probably twitching to hear about my Tesla Thong reference and how it's related to a GC leak of the planned changes to the new Model 3 and Model Y 2023 builds. To teach you a little bit more on that, if you're a fan of the Semi, as in the Tesla semi truck, there could be some transferable assets between the Model 3 and Model Y with that Semi. Weird combination, you may say, but it's one I think existing Tesla owners will probably be a bit more open to, and you'll find out about that in just a few moments' time. So if you are interested to hear about the new rear-wheel drive Model Y secrets that's leaving me incredibly puzzled, what's it packing and what it's missing, you've come to the right place. In the meantime, I'd appreciate if you could give the video a cheeky like, subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't done so already, and if you are interested in Tesla EV content weekly, do hit that notification bell so you are the first to know when a video goes live. So Adam, what's the secret to the new Model Y? Well, firstly, this new rear-wheel drive Model Y is available in the UK and across Europe, but it's not yet available for purchase by our North American friends. Personally, my initial thoughts still stand, and I think that the battery supply I mentioned in my previous video will be earmarked for the US market. You can take a look at that video on the screen now if you're interested, but if you are lucky enough to be based in the UK or Europe, there is a brand new Tesla Model Y available to buy via the Tesla website. And I want to cut straight to the chase here. The Model Y is the cheapest yet. It's over 10% cheaper than its current Model Y long range. Well, at least here in the UK that is. I know it does vary slightly country to country, as there seems to be some strategic pricing going on here for sure. Potentially Tesla are just trying to soak up or attract government incentives on offer. But that lower entry price now opens the door back to those that want that practical space of the Model Y, but didn't want to pay close to £58,000 for the pleasure. And despite the lower price point, it doesn't actually look like you're going to sacrifice a lot of the spec in comparison to the long range variant, which I'm pretty surprised about too. In fact, it's even better than how the Model 3 rear-wheel drive stands up to its longer range brother. For the rear-wheel drive Model 3 SR Plus, that's sold with partial premium interior, and the long-range Model 3 has the fully fledged premium interior. However, for the Model Y, you get the full premium interior still as standard. That means you still get all the features you can see on the screen, from heated front and rear seats to full premium audio to fully folding second row seats. The only spec difference I can see apart from the motor and battery related, which I'll get onto in just a second, is that the rear wheel drive Model Y will not have the LED fog lamps. Now that does mirror the stance with the SR Plus at present. I don't have these on my Model 3 because of this very reason. So apart from a few minor tweaks to the specs, it still very much aligns itself to a full Tesla experience. So moving on to the major changes, that is the battery and the motors, or should I say the motor. The long-range Model Y is a dual-motor all-wheel drive machine, whereas Tesla have stripped a motor to become solely a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and the battery has changed to deliver 283 miles on WLTP terms. So not only is there a 50-mile range difference between the two, the max charging speed may be closer to 170 kilowatts, if my battery suspicions are correct. That leads to the mystery around the new Tesla Model Y. What is the goddamn battery, Adam? Is that the new BYD Blade battery you mentioned before? Well, there is a question I'd like the answer to. And when I first saw this new Model Y, my first thought as soon as the page loaded, this was going to be the reported new BYD Blade battery. However, I soon changed my mind, and now I'm leaning to the battery being the LFP battery produced by CATL. It's going to be similar to the Model 3 SR Plus that you can buy now. But there is one more roll to the dice to this whole equation, which makes me reconsider this statement as well. But before we get to that contrasting point, this is why I think it's the LFP battery from CATL. Australia has only just started to receive their first deliveries of the Model Y, This Model Y was produced in China and exported directly to Australia. It has the LFP battery we are familiar with from the rear-wheel drive Model 3. And if we take a look at that Model Y, it achieves 455 kilometers on the same WLTP basis. This converts to 282.7 miles or 283 miles if we're going to round it up. And if we actually look at the Model Y on offer in, say, France or in Ireland, it's been advertised at the same 455 kilometers range as it is in Australia. So bang on with the same range as Australia on the same WLTP terms. These vehicles have already been produced in Giga Shanghai and then exported to Australia. And so if that is the case, they come with a 170 kilowatt max charge limit, which is the same as the Model 3 SR Plus, but lower than the 250 kilowatt max charge speed found in the long-range Model Y. In addition to that, previous reports stipulated that Giga Berlin had first dibs on the BYD Blade batteries, and they wouldn't be making their way to Giga Shanghai in the short term at least. So if those reports are right, it seems to be advantage Giga Shanghai here, and this heavily indicates that the very same car sold to Australia and within China is making its way to Europe. However, the mystery does not end there. This is the real WTF, what is going on moment. If we compare the vehicle weights between the UK Model Y and the Model Y sold in Australia, the weight for the vehicle is exactly the same, and we're talking about the rear-wheel drive version here. However, if we look at the same rear-wheel drive Model Y sold in China, that weighs more than 20 kilograms more. But why is that? I thought this was an identical car. Well, I've been under the impression that this rear-wheel drive Model Y is exactly the same all around based on what I've literally just mentioned. If the rumoured BYD battery variant was incorporated, we were sort of expecting it to potentially enable the vehicle to have an even lower weight, and partly that is because of its structural battery technology. So does that then mean we are indeed looking at the BYD Blade battery? My mind says no, and I think this is indeed the same Model Y produced for Australia and China alike. And whilst I have no idea why there is that 20 kilogram difference, maybe it could simply fall down to a local market variable and it's required to be reported in this very specific way. Ultimately, without Tesla's official word, we will be none the wiser until deliveries are made. However, I feel more aligned for it to be the CATL LFP battery we know so well. Therefore, it looks like we're going to have to wait a little longer to see if the BYD Blade battery Model Y makes an appearance for Tesla soon. So what about the 2023 Model Y, Adam? Well, I'm coining this latest revision as the Thong moment, and that's because Tesla likes to push boundaries of design by stripping buttons and mechanical processes in favour of utilising software and the screen and just having a buttonless approach. Not only does this imminently provide a clean and minimalistic approach, if you're into that look, it also delivers cost savings to Tesla and it reduces steps in the manufacturing process. Now, the existing interior is pretty much the same for both the Model 3 and the Model Y, and for me, it's fair to say it's already extremely minimalistic compared to its competition. So what could Tesla possibly strip even further? This is precisely the reason I'm calling it the Thong moment, because, well, I can't actually believe I'm explaining this thought process out to you, but here it goes. Just when you thought underwear was a little short, well, swap that out for a thong. And do I dare say any more? Let's just say it uses less material than you thought was possible, and visually, well, I can leave that for your imagination. But the point is, Tesla could further simplify the cockpit and stripping it down to a level that you didn't even think was possible. And this is just based on a rumour for the 2023 versions of the Model 3 and Model Y. And this all stems from this reported article that Tesla is going to drop the two stalks present on the Model 3 and the Model Y, and these will be replaced by a brand new steering wheel taken directly from the Tesla Semi. So the Model 3 and Model Y will then become officially stalkless, and the Model 3 and Model Y will then have these touch-sensitive buttons for actions such as indication and cruise control / autopilot that you currently find present on the stalks. Now, having driven a old pre-facelift Model S, I know that initially that had 3 to 4 stalks, whereas my Model 3 has one either side of the steering wheel. To that account, I actually have a first-hand struggle story to share with you about the Model S stalks. Now, this Model S I had driven briefly was just a Tesla loaner car, and having driven to the Tesla service centre in my Model 3, when I then jumped into the Model S, for the love of God, I could not work out where the wipers were. On the Model 3, it's integrated on the screen, but for this pre-facelift Model S, it's just an old school stalk. And if I remember right, it was a small and stumpy one at best. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes to find a damn thing in the pouring rain. But the point is, you adjust this level of simplification, and anything that requires more physical effort, even if it is just reaching for a stalk, all of a sudden just becomes a little bit more demanding on your muscle memory. Elon Musk and the Tesla team have this history of pushing simplification to its absolute limits. I mean, it's an open secret he'd take the steering wheel out if he could, but solving full self-driving stands in the way of that design at the moment. So until then, having the stalk functions as touch-sensitive buttons on the steering wheel is going to be the next best alternative to simplifying the driving experience. It's very similar to how the new Model S and X operates in the US right now. That said, for me, this change would be weird at first, but as an owner used to this level of simplification, I think you'd just get used to it incredibly quick. With no stalks, we should expect the auto stalk function from the new Model S and X to actually make its way into the 2023 Model 3 and Y, because you literally have no stalk to pop the car into drive or reverse. And that and all Papa Elon had already promised the function was coming to the Model 3 and Model Y. Following this change, it's pretty much a no-brainer to synchronize that change with the physical adaptations made to the vehicles. So to conclude, do I expect the new Model Y rear-wheel drive to perform well, and will the changes to the 2023 Model Y enhance that position? Literally just being at least 10% cheaper is going to bring a whole load of consumers back to the table. That alone is enough for them to reconsider their options. Now, I'm not saying consumers will flock and immediately change their existing vehicle orders for the new rear-wheel drive Model Y or whatever. However, what I am saying is it will bring back those consumers that were initially disappointed when the base version used to be the long-range Model Y, at least here in the UK at least. Literally, after months and months of persistent price rises for the Model 3 and the Model Y, it's great to see that Tesla has introduced a cheaper option, and hats off and credit where due. I'm not saying it's now cheap to buy, not at all. However, it's the cheapest Model Y that we can buy ever. This is a win when prices seem to be increasing left, right and centre for all sorts of goods. Let's not hide the fact that there is some sacrifice for acceleration speed and the range compared to usual Tesla standards, but it's definitely still competitive for the average driver. I mean, I just did a road trip video in my Tesla Model 3 SR Plus, and this has around 40 miles less real world range than this. But hopefully, having watched this video, you'll soon realise that this doesn't stop you from completing your annual road trips for 1 second. The average daily mileage is around 30 miles a day, and 283 miles will more than clear that. And as I said before, this is still very much a Tesla experience, and it's going to be here with that lower price. That will leave consumers happy that they now have that cheaper option than without having that option at all. With the incoming 2023 variations due by the end of the year, if the steering wheel is amended to incorporate the touch-sensitive buttons, I don't think it will scare people away from owning a Model Y or Model 3 in 2023. It certainly is less controversial than the yoke system, and so with the steering wheel changes and with the other revisions made to the 2023 spec, it will leave you a new, cheaper and improved Model Y to buy. Now, if you made it this far in the video, you actually get a little bit of a preview for next week's video. I've been sent something in the post following a little incident, but this has opened a door for something a little bit better than I initially thought. And so I've got some exciting news to share with you, and it wouldn't have been possible without your support. So thank you for any of you that have seen literally any of my videos before and you've interacted with myself. If you haven't already done so, please do let me know what your thoughts are on this new Model Y. If this Model Y is not the BYD Blade battery variant, then when do you think they'll incorporate it? And also, does owning a stalkless Tesla put you off from driving it? Alternatively, if you're not sure what you want to comment and you want to let me know you've got this far in the video, you can simply comment Tesla Thong thinking and I'll give you a cheeky thumbs up for doing so. Oh boy, I do love coming up with some of these phrases. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it with anyone or a beneficial group that may find this video useful. You folks have been great, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.